Hey, what's going on YouTube? Gary here, gzduel, here to bring you guys a match on Dueling Network, and I'm playing some Gravekeepers, and this is a pre-recorded duel. The reason why I'm pre-recording this is because some of you guys suggested that you can't hear in one of the ears if you're using the headphones if I just record directly audio and do live commentary. So what I decided to do, in order to fix that problem with the audio, I have to record the video and the audio separately and then combine them together. So first of all, it takes more time to do it, so I hope you'll forgive me for the delay sometimes. And second of all, hopefully you guys will have a better video experience. That's all that matters, really. So my opponent is playing some Dark World because I played him already. I know what he's playing. And instead of like a traditional Dark World deck, he's trying a lot of interesting tech cards. And I'll point out some of the interesting tech cards and what I think about them, especially two interesting tech cards that I was exposed to. So my opponent right now seems to have a lot of advantage. He's going to try to upstart Goblin into a whole new hand, basically. He's going to keep drawing, and he has that tech card he's using, Into the Void. Now, Into the Void, activate only if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, draw 1 card. During the end phase of this turn, discard all the cards in your hand. So Into the Void, at first, might seem like a really good card. But there are 2 downsides, I think, to this using this card. Of course, the good side, the perceived benefits are you get to draw into an extra card, and you get to use, during the end phase, if you have Dark World monsters, you can use their effects. By discarding them, they send to the graveyard, you can use their effects, and you would get all the pluses back. But no, those are only perceived benefits. The two harms that this card brings is actually more detrimental and outweighs the benefits. The first harm that this card brings is you have to overcommit. You have to set your whole hand of spell or traps and pray that your opponent doesn't have Heavy Storm. If you think about it, right? If you only want to discard monsters, and you want to protect things like Dark Hole, Monster Reborn in your hand, then you'll have to set those cards. And if you set those cards, the chances of you having the chances of your opponent having Heavy Storm and getting rid of all your useful cards is that much more likely. And so that's the first drawback. You have to set all your spell traps and commit heavily to the back row. The second drawback is this. Some of you may be thinking, hey, if I discard all of my Dark World monsters during the end phase, I get their effects. I get to discard Brow, I get to draw a card. I discard Snow, I get to search a card. I discard whatever, I get to special summon like Gold, Silva, Beige, and if I discard Grapha, I get to destroy a card on the field. That seems really good. But it's only partially good, because if you discard not the right Dark World monsters, say if you discard Brow, and you discard Snow, and for Brow you draw into a card, and for Snow you actually search for the gates of the Dark World. It is still the end phase when these effects are resolving. So what does Into the Void said? What does the Into the Void say? It says during the end phase, discard your whole hand, all the cards in your hand. So you still have cards in your hand during the end phase, and you are forced to discard those cards that you search with Snow, that you've drawn with Brow. So technically, if you don't search for the right cards, it's still minus. You still don't have any cards left for next turn. So if you discard Brow, that's a bad idea. If you discard Snow, you'll probably have to search for Grapha, and then you would have to discard Grapha. Sure, you might get a destroy one with Grapha's effect, but really, you would rather search for gates, right? So that's what I think about him using that tech card. He's using Into the Void, and as you can see here, he is drawing into a lot of cards. He is, and I'll give him that. It moves his deck really quickly. He has 26 cards in his deck already, just because it's the first turn, and he's drawing and milling and sending cards to the graveyard and all of those spells. So it makes me kind of think, if I lose this duel right here, what I'll do is I'll side in Eradicated Epidemic Virus, call spells, and I think I'll side in Soul Drains. So I draw into Commandant, which is not bad. So I'm going to use Commandant's effect in order to search for Necro Valley and replace his gates with my Necro Valley. And I'm trying out this tech card right here, Allure of Darkness. I know that Gravekeepers have a low monster count, but I think that Allure of Darkness would work, especially when I'm trying out another tech card that I don't see a lot of Gravekeepers use, which is what is that card called? Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is a dark target. It's a level 4. It can get one of your Gravekeepers. And I'm just right here. I have to banish the Descendant. It doesn't seem like Descendant really helps right now. And I do have one in the graveyard, and I drew into Gravekeeper Steel, so it doesn't really matter if I banish the Descendant. And the reason why I chose to activate the Allure of Darkness before the Pot of Duality is because if I draw into something that I can special summon, if I draw into a Summoner Monk, I can still special summon that turn because I didn't activate the Pot of Duality. But since I didn't draw into Summoner Monk or anything like that, then what I am forced to do is activate Pot of Duality and just to get the Mirror Force, which I actually really didn't want to get. But since I didn't have any protective spell or traps, I felt like Mirror Force was probably the best choice at that time. So I'm going to use Gravekeeper Steel, get back Spy. In my opinion, Spy is one of the hands down best cards of the Gravekeeper monsters. Of course, the best card is Necro Valley, and the second best card is Royal Tribute. But Gravekeeper Spy is the best monster, I would say, because you can use Gravekeeper Spy's effect to get anything you want. Basically, you can get Recruiter, and Recruiter can get you anything you want. And Spy, you can set up plays for the Descendant, you can set up plays for Assailant, you can set up plays where you just don't lose anything. And if it gets into the graveyard, sure, that's cool too. You just get it back with Gravekeeper Steel. And under Necro Valley, it has 2,500 defense. That's nothing to laugh at. That's really, really good. So I'm in a losing position, and my opponent tries out his second really cool tech card, Advanced Draw. Tribute 1 level, face up level 8 or higher monster you control, draw 2 cards. The reason why I think it's a really good card is because it gets you pluses for no reason. If you have Advanced Draw and you tribute a Grapha, sure, just normal summon another Dark World monster, bounce back that Dark World monster, get back the Grapha that you tributed. So what ended up happening was you use that one card, Advanced Draw, you draw into 2 cards, and you lose nothing. So you get a +1. And that's amazing. You have no drawbacks anyways. You're going to get back the Grapha that you tributed. You're going to draw into new cards. You're going to move the deck. You're going to draw into gates. You're going to draw into drag down. You're going to draw into a whole lot of stuff. As you can see, he has like 6 new cards, but I feel like he misplays a bit. He shouldn't just lose Grapha that easily. He knows that I have Mirror Force, so maybe that's why he doesn't want to attack. But if he has like a Dark World monster, then it shouldn't really matter. So my opponent is trying out Into the Void, which is actually a very precarious move for him right now, because if you think about it, if he's hesitating at this point, that means he doesn't have a ready play. He doesn't have a Dark World monster which he can summon to bring back Grapha. So him using Into the Void really trips himself up, since he might have to discard a lot of cards in his hand. But I don't know. And over here he's going to banish Stardust, and he's going to summon Malefic Stardust. Here is where things get a little complicated, and this is why I kind of don't like Dueling Network, but I kind of like it at the same time. I don't like Dueling Network because people can just cheat and do whatever they want. They're going to activate, he's going to banish a Stardust, and he's going to summon a Malefic Stardust, which he can't do. Because Malefic monsters, while you control one Malefic monster on the field, there can only be one Malefic monster on the field. So he can't summon the other Malefic Stardust Dragon, okay? So he can't summon the second one. So when I try to tell him and try to show him this, I try to show him all of this, he just cheats more. He's just going to, if I remember correctly, he's going to just activate Skill Drain. And I was like, okay, 2 problems with this. If you activate Skill Drain, you should have activated it before. And if you have Stardust in your hand, you can't even activate the effect. So you should have activated Skill Drain before, not during the end phase when you're trying to end your turn. Now, that's fine. That's all right. We're just playing casually. But at the same time, if you think about it, he says Skill Drain negates the effect, so he can summon another Stardust Dragon. If you read the summoning condition of Malefic Stardust is there can only be one face-up Malefic monster on the field. Skill Drain doesn't negate the effect of Malefic Stardust in the hand, okay? And if that's the case, then, the Malefic Stardust Dragon on the field didn't change its name, right? You only control one Malefic monster on the field, you still can't activate it. So he's going to reverse back all of his moves, and he's going to use Advanced Draw, he's going to draw into 2 new cards, and he's calling me a jerk because I said, look, the reason why I play rated is because I'm hoping to meet up with good players. I'm hoping to meet up with like players with 2,000 or 1,000 rating, so that I don't have to run into these complications. Running into these complications is really not good for the video. As you can see, I'm wasting your guys' time. I'm sorry. I apologize. And I'm just saying, look, this is your rating. You should know all of these rules, right? You shouldn't, try to cheat, try to like manipulate your opponent into believing what you know is wrong. The only reason why I question his rating is because I feel like he's cheating intentionally. At a major tournament, I have the full right to call a judge and have the judge right here, and he might have just taken the game loss right here. So he's going to use Grapha's effect, and this will illustrate one of the reasons why I think Into the Void is not a good card for the Dark World deck. He used Grapha, he's going to blow up my Necro Valley, and Necro Valley, when it is destroyed, Malefic Stardust Dragon is going to destroy too. But like, I don't think that he could actually do that, because Malefic Stardust Dragon was actually protecting the field card. I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's protecting his field card or my field card, but I don't know. Regardless, he wanted to destroy it. It's either he gets Stardust or he's going to waste whatever. And Into the Void makes him just discard his trade-in, because his trade-in is a card he couldn't set. It's during the end phase. So my opponent is actually placing himself in a losing position, which is really good for me. And I'm going to just try my best to capitalize on this misplay that he's playing. And I'm going to probably get Gravekeeper Steal. I was hesitating to try to get Dimension Prison, so that if he attacks with Grapha, I could get rid of Grapha. But right now at this point, it doesn't seem like he has any Dark World monsters, so I should have ended up getting Gravekeeper Steal. So my opponent surrenders for game 1. I'm preparing for game 2. I'm going to side in those Eradicator Epidemic Viruses so that I can get rid of his spells. I'm going to side in Soul Drains so I can get rid of his effects that activate in the graveyard. And I'm going to try to side in Kaikus so that he can't banish for Gates effect. And also, if I get to do some direct damage, what I would be able to do is get rid of his Graphas in the graveyard. So that's like win-win-win. And over here, I'm just trying to decide what to side in and what to side out. I'm just being indecisive right here. I first took out the Summoner Monk because I thought, I have the Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I just want to go into that as soon as possible. But then that got me thinking. If I have a Summoner Monk, then if I pitch a spell, I can go Exceed into Master Key Beetle, which is a EEV target, and which made me think again. If I have Spy, Gravekeeper Spy, I could also do a rank 4 Exceed. I could also go for Master Key Beetle. So why did I take that out anyway? So I'm going to also put that in, and I'm going to take out Allure of Darkness. The reason why I took out Allure of Darkness is because my opponent, I'm counting on my opponent to have Dark World dealings and stuff, and that will at the same time help me mix my deck a little bit too, help me draw into some of the cards that I need. So I'm going to take out the Allure of Darkness simply because I need all of my monsters. But I realize right now, in afterthought, I realized that I sided in wrong against him. I should have kept things like Allure of Darkness. I should have kept things so that I could draw into my cards, my sided cards much faster. I should have taken out 2 cards that are normally good but really bad against this deck, and those 2 cards are Royal Tribute. If I didn't take out Royal Tribute and activate Royal Tribute, and all of his monsters are in his hand, all of his Dark World monsters are in his hand, what happened was all of his Dark World monsters would get the effect, and on top of that, it's because I discarded all of his Dark World monsters. His Dark World monsters would get much more broken effects. So I should have sided that out. That's my oversight. I'm not a good player. Okay, so my opponent is opening up like he does last time. He is going to try to get as much advantage as possible from the first turn. At first, I thought he was going to discard my EEV. It just makes sense to discard EEV, but he's going to discard Dark Hole. So I was like, that seems kind of weird to me. So that seems kind of suspicious. Does that mean he has an answer for my EEV? Is he not afraid of my EEV destroying all of his spells that he has set? And over here, I just drew into Bottomless Trap Hole. So that made me think, if I had gone first, and if he was like playing, if he was setting up his graveyard for Grapha and all that stuff, that'd be really cool, because I would just remove his Grapha and bye-bye Grapha. Okay, so my opponent has a trade-in. He drew into that trade-in, so it's really broken. He's just moving his deck so fast. I'm just planning out my moves. I'm thinking of setting the Gravekeeper Spy, and when Gravekeeper Spy flips up, I get to search for a Gravekeeper monster from my deck, special summon it on the field. I'll probably special summon a level 4 monster, and when it's my turn, I'll go for Overlay and go into Master Key Beetle and call spells. That's what I think I would probably do, provided that my opponent doesn't do something broken first. So my opponent is using his Into the Void again, which is actually, I think it's really bad. So he's going to play Gates, and he's going to use Gates, probably going to discard the Snow, but he changes his mind right here also. He's going to view his graveyard. He's going to probably summon out the Snow at first. So I was just teasing him. I was like, hey, you said Gates, right? Why didn't you use Gates effect? But really, it's not that serious. He could change his mind. Doesn't really matter. Okay, I'm just teasing him at the same time because he thinks that I'm a jerk, but I'm not. I'm just trying to show him that if I was a jerk, then all of these things that he was trying to do, like trying to cheat, trying to use Snow's effect while he declared Gates' effect, all of that wouldn't go through. But it really doesn't matter. You just go ahead. He's going to summon out Grapha, which made me think, if he didn't get rid of my EEV, that means he probably has his own EEV. That probably means he can call traps, and all of my traps like Bottomless Trap Hole and Eradicator Epidemic Virus, all of them would die. So I'm thinking maybe that's the case. Or else what duelist wouldn't want to get rid of EEV, especially if he sees that I have Gravekeeper Spy in my hand and an ability to probably go for a rank 4 Exceed. So he's going to use Snow's effect to search for a Dark World Dealings. And he's going to play Dark World Dealings, and I'm going to draw into a new card as well, and I'm going to get rid of one of my Gravekeeper Spies. I drew into Soul Drain, which I counted on. That's why I signed out Allure Darkness. I counted on him helping me draw into my cards. But I didn't. I thought, with Soul Drain, I probably would win the duel. He can't activate all of his grave effects. I think he can only activate Grapha's effect. Wait, no, he can't even activate Grapha's effect because Grapha's effect activates in the graveyard. So my opponent is just doing all this stuff. It's like sometimes you get tired of playing decks that just play with themselves for the first turn. Okay. So he's going to just end his turn with 5 back row, and I was like, great. If my EEV goes off, then I'm going to call spells. Probably everything dies. And I'm kind of sad that Summoner Monk isn't, I don't have a spell for that Summoner Monk. So I'm going to set all of my trap cards right here. Hopefully it'll go smoothly. And my opponent during the end phase, like I thought, what he's going to do is he's going to just activate EEV. Come on, just activate EEV. It's not that hard, man. Come on, what are you thinking about? Yes, just activate EEV. And he's going to probably call traps because he saw my hand with drag down to the grave. So he's going to call traps, and all of my traps are going to die. And I have to show him my hand, which is 2 monsters. And he's going to be satisfied with that, I think. So he's going to go into his turn. Like I said, I'm in another losing position. Gravekeepers against Dark Worlds is just, I don't even know, man. Like, you can't win. The only way I could possibly win is if he misplays a lot. So he's going to use Dark Hole. And I was like, sure, that's fine. You can get rid of my spy. That's all right. That's cool. And he's going to use card destruction. So I was like, you're trying out desperate moves, aren't you? You don't have a Dark World monster for you to summon back Grapha. And I drew into Malefic Stardust, and I drew into Necro Valley. So there is a chance that I might be able to reverse my luck, provided that he doesn't have a Dark World monster. So he wants to see my hand because he's like, oh, yo, I have Eradicator Virus. But you don't have to show him your hand because you draw into new cards during the next turn, your next turn, then you show him your hand when you draw a card. Okay, so I'm thinking, he has 3 cards, I have 2 cards. It's not that bad. I think I can turn this around. If he didn't draw into a Brow, if he doesn't draw into something like anything useful, he's going to pass his turn off to me. Everything should be good. I drew into Starlight Road, which is kind of useless for me at this point. And I'm going to use Necro Valley. I'm going to banish Stardust Dragon for Necro Valley. I get rid of his gates at the same time, which is really cool. Okay, so I'm gonna summon out the Malefic Stardust Dragon. I don't think Dark Worlds play a lot of good back row. So my opponent right here is gonna try to MST my Necro Valley, and I was like, I have Malefic Stardust Dragon. Are you serious? Since he did allow my Malefic Stardust to resolve and he changed to my summoning, then I have the right to say no. You can't activate MST before I summon the Stardust because you didn't say you wanted to. Even though he should have, because his Eradicator Epidemic Virus should have told him that I have Malefic Stardust. So it's going to be the second turn of Eradicator, and he's going to just try his best to move his deck in order to get a Dark World monster. But it doesn't seem like he's having any luck. He's discarding this left and right, and he's using Necro Valley. He's going to try to destroy my Necro Valley with MST and all of that stuff. It seems to me it's just kind of useless, kind of like just doing nothing. So I draw into Kaiku, which is a really cool top deck because he has two Graphas. So it's really, really satisfying for me to just attack with Kaiku, remove two of his Graphas, and I actually probably just win with this one Kaiku. It's beautiful. Kaiku is like the best card ever. So I'm going to use Kaiku's effect. I'm going to banish two of his Graphas. So now I'm thinking, even if he draws into Gates, he can't banish cards for Gates. Even if he draws into Snow, he'll have a hard time getting over Kaiku if he doesn't have Gates. And I don't think Dark Worlds run a lot of good back row. He probably only has like Torrential Tribute as the only good back row. Right now, I'm just thinking he's setting bluffs. Like, I'm not afraid of anything. He's probably just setting bluffs anyway. Okay. So I draw into Bottomless Trap Hole. I don't have to show him because Eradicator Virus is gone. He's going to activate Skill Drain. I was like, cool, that's fine. You're just going to kill yourself faster because you're going to lose 1,000 life points and you're going to lose 1,800 from my attack. I'm going to set the Bottomless Trap Hole. He's going to activate Mystical Space Typhoon. It's alright. As long as he doesn't draw into a Dark World monster, I will win. So he doesn't draw into Dark World monster and I ended up winning. So I hope you guys enjoyed this hard fought duel. This is Gary GZ Duels signing out.